Hello, and welcome to our native garden home, a series about gardening with native plants and making healthy choices all around us. I'm your host, Karen Suarez. Together, we will rediscover the patch where we live. Native habitat is not only better for birds, dragonflies, and butterflies, but it's better for us. Join me in this journey whether you're looking to do a project yourself or want to know more before you hire that contractor. Water and resources have us thinking about what we can do, and every little step helps. And it's a personal decision on what steps to make. But what we do now makes our future possibilities brighter. I've evolved to live more in peace and harmony in what nature took so long to create. The choices we make now affect us and the world. Are you ready to get started? Hi, we're here today with at the Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Gardens.
Botanic Garden.
And I'm here with Eric Garten. What is your title?
I'm the Director of Visitor Services, and I also oversee education.
Great, great. Well, it's a very special place. This is my first time here, so very exciting.
Thanks for coming.
And so what we're going to talk about today is a lot of native plants, and they're in bloom right now.
A lot of them are in bloom right now. We've got so many nice shrubs and things that are starting. You can see the heuchera behind us, as well as some of the irises that are just starting to bloom. It's a beautiful time right now, and we haven't even gotten into true wildflower season yet.
Great. So this is a great time to come out here and look around and see what you like.
That's right.
And then talk to somebody about what might work in your yard.
Yeah, here at Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden, our focus is California native flora. So we focus on everything native to the state of California. We have over 2,500 accession plants within our collection. You probably know California is extremely diverse. We have over 6,000 species of native plants, more than any other in the continental United States.
Wow.
And here at Rancho, we try to showcase and display as many of those as we're able to grow here in Southern California. We've got plants from Northern California, Central California, even into the upper portions of Baja, and they all seem to do pretty well here. Many of them might look a little different than they would in their natural plant communities, but we try to have them all here in one place on 86 acres that the public can enjoy and learn about our native flora.
So why plant native plants?
Well, a lot of our native plants, especially those here in Southern California, they're a great way to shave some money off your water bill. Our plants that have adapted here in Southern California are used to our Mediterranean climate, and they are ones that require far less water than other similar species that have been brought in from around other parts of the world.
And when you plant natives in your yard, what can you expect?
You can expect a lot of diversity, and if you think about some of the layering that you have, like for instance here, you've got all these understory plants, and yet some are really ground covers, and then there's others that have more vertical elements. And if you plant accordingly, you can actually have blooms literally year-round, depending on the type of things that you grow. You can grow California fuchsia, which bloom in late October, November, and into December. Then you can have manzanitas that bloom in the early winter and in through January and February and March, and then ceanothus, which just start getting flowering in February, March, and April into even May. And so you have this changing dynamic through your garden and in your landscape that you can guarantee yourself year-round color.
And not only that, when you're flowering all your different times
during the year. They're fruiting different times of the year, providing food
That's
for
right.
birds.
We really like to give people the idea of gardening ecologically or having an ecological landscape. Everything out here is food or shelter, providing habitat for the myriad of wildlife, like those two monarchs that just flew in front of us.
I hope they got in the camera.
I bet they did. I'm sure they were trying to steal a little bit right there. But everything we have here is great habitat, and you can plant like these heuchera, these coral bells right behind us are awesome for hummingbirds. We've got milkweed that's popping up, which is providing a host plant for the monarch butterflies. A lot of other flowering plants that provide nectar for butterflies and hummingbirds, not to mention just the ground cover for native squirrels and birds and all the different things from very, very tiny to very, very large. We have a lot of coyotes and even bobcats here in our garden that love this habitat.
Yeah, they're great. Okay, now tell me a little bit about the plant we saw earlier,
So we have a plant that was brought into our collection in the early 1930s, and it's called Aristolochia californica, or Dutchman's pipe. It is native to northern and central California, not to southern California. But since we've had it in our collection all that time, we've had a chance to really let the population get established. It actually made the move with us from Santa Ana Canyon to our location here on Indian Hill Mesa in 1951. And only about 5 years ago did we actually have the butterfly that utilizes this plant, and it's called a pipevine swallowtail. So pipevine swallowtails are a beautiful black butterfly. The males have a little bit of blue on their hind wings. The females are just mostly black with some orangish blue spots on the underwing. That is their host plant, and they cannot lay their eggs on any other plant. They have to have Dutchman's pipe in order to lay their eggs. And so we have this great population of this plant, which isn't native to Southern California, but now, after 5 years, we have an established population of pipevine swallowtail, and they're the most plentiful butterfly in our entire garden.
That was amazing.
But
I picked up on it right away. I was like, what is that?
But if you go anywhere else, if you go a quarter mile away from this garden, you will not see pipevine swallowtail butterflies because normally most people don't grow Aristolochia in their own landscape.
Yeah.
But it's a great one. You need to have it on northeastern part of your house, maybe a place that it gets shade. And it can be a little more moist. It doesn't like a lot of direct sun. It likes riparian areas, and it is native to northern and central California. So you have to think about the plant's needs along the way.
So when people come out here to visit and they're looking at plants, should they be going, yay, it's spring, I want to plant my yard?
So in California, Southern California in particular, we have what's called a Mediterranean climate. Mediterranean climates are really unique in the world. There's only 2% of the Earth's land surface are Mediterranean climates, and we share this with the Mediterranean basin, a little bit of the southwestern Cape of South Africa, a little bit of southwestern Australia and New Zealand, a little bit of central Chile, and right here in Southern California. We get cool, moist winters and hot, dry summers. And for those of you who have lived here, you know that you just don't get a lot of rain in the summer. Bottom line, planting season for California native plants is the fall, October and November. You don't want to try to reestablish your landscape with California natives in the spring. You're really sentencing them to a really hard summer, and you're probably going to lose a lot of the plants that you got started, because that's when a lot of our natives go dormant, and you just can't plant new things and expect them to do well here in our hot, dry summer.
Right.
You want to plant them in the fall where they have lots of time to get their roots established. And in the winter, it's more important about the growth that you don't see, the growth that's underground. So you want to see them have their roots get expanded, and in the spring you can expect a lot more vegetative growth.
So now's a good time to maybe stop watering your lawn.
Now is also a great time to get rid of some of those plants you might not want. Start planting. Come here to Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden. You can actually take a look at these plants, see what they look like in mature form, and then think about what you're going to get going in the fall.
Now that's what I did. For almost a year, I didn't water my lawn, and it slowly died.
It takes a while.
My neighbors were wondering, like, what is Karen doing? She's always had this beautiful lawn. and yard and flowers and roses and this beautiful English garden. You know, we're kind of
Yep.
brainwashed into this English country
Well,
garden, aren't
do you
we?
know, Karen, how much of your water bill is actually outside your house?
Probably, it used to
It-
be a lot.
It's
Now it's
for
better with my
most-
native.
For most people, it's actually probably 70% or more of your water bill is actually outside the home. So if you can save water with these water efficient, appropriate, Mediterranean adapted Southern California plants, you can cut your water bill at least in half if you just plant the right plants and remember to water appropriately. Many people actually kill their plants because they water them too much.
Right, right. Well, my water bill is just so small now that I've gone with native in the front. I still have fruit trees and grass
Sure,
in the front,
sure.
so you know it's still amazing how much it really cut down my water bill.
It makes a big difference not only in your water bill, it's just the amount of maintenance that you have to do. Do you
Yeah.
find that in your yard?
Well, I have an oak tree, and it
Okay.
used to be battle royale with the leaves and
Right,
keeping
right.
it clean and pristine, and now I'm one with the leaves. The leaves are food. The leaves are mulch.
That's
It's
right.
really easy to pluck the weeds out now because the mulch and the leaves. And I find that I'm living much more
It's
in harmony
thinking
now.
that's
I'm in
I
peace.
love that. I love hearing that because it's all about thinking about how nature works as a system and everything plays a part from the leaves that fall to the dead branches to the insects, we call them the FBI, the fungus, bacteria and insects that actually break down all of that matter at the base, all help to make the stuff that grows really tall and then provide the habitat, and it's just one big web of life.
That's great. That's great. I can't help but stop looking at the butterflies landing on the plants over here. The nice.
We've seen a lot of
monarchs
hummingbirds
and the
on
hummingbirds
the
on the hummingbird
salvia.
salvia.
Yep. That's a
Yeah.
really nice plant, the hummingbird sage.
Yeah, I gotta get some of that.
Makes a beautiful flower. It's one of the few that actually has red flowers. So here at Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden, we have year-round programs and activities from what we call K to gray. So very young children all the way up to adults, lifelong learners. We have classes that we offer. We're actually offering a sustainable workshop series right now where you can learn all about the planting design and all the way from what you have started with to where you can end up and everything in between. We have free native plant clinics the first Saturday of every month
Oh, cool.
at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can come and speak with a horticulturalist. Just bring in plant samples that you have, any questions, photos that you might have of your own landscape that you might want to make changes or have questions about. They can really do a lot of that for you. We have a nursery here on site that you can buy plants from November through May. Remember, that's the time to plant California native plants. We don't recommend planting a lot of things in the summer, so we actually don't sell a lot of California native plants in the summer. And the other aspects of what we do here, we have a great resource of a bookstore with lots of great native plant books and resources about landscaping. We offer children's tours, and we have K through 6 guided tours that we actually have volunteer docents who lead children around the garden, and they're all state standard space. So we have a great school program here as well as adult tours. The list goes on and on and on. Just as
And
many.
can you rent for private parties?
For private parties, we have lots of spaces throughout the garden. We actually have a wedding and reception on site here this evening, and it's a great space for people if they want a beautiful outdoor wedding or reception.
I can't imagine a prettier place.
It's a great place.
There's some water up here. Look at the gift store. It's small, but it's very nice. Thank you so much for coming. Please take out a membership and come back and see us. Love the lunch. Thank you so much for coming.
think a lot of my favorite plants are the ones that bloom off season, what people typically think of as the spring in Southern California. I really like the ones that give those floral colors throughout the year. And sometimes it's not even the plants that actually flower, but things like white sage, Salvia apiana, things that give great color, even like manzanitas, which have beautiful, beautiful reddish bark, and that don't necessarily need a flower to look pretty. Another one that I really like during the fall and winter is the buckeye, the Aesculus that we've seen around this garden quite a few times. Right now they're just starting to come into leaf, but they actually lose their leaves in the late summer and early fall. But their bark is a beautiful, beautiful silvery color, and the shape of the tree is just so handsome that I can live with that through the winter. So you really have to think about plants throughout their season. And if you expect something to always look the same, maybe California native plants aren't for you.
Yeah.
But like right behind us, this red bud that's back here, it actually gets its flowers before it actually leaves out, and this one's just starting to get some leaves, and it's one of those early spring bloomers that just
How
is
long
striking.
does it bloom?
These will bloom at least 4 to 5 weeks, and then they'll start getting beautiful kind of just silver dollar shaped leaves, and then they'll get some fruits that you can still see persisting on some of these that are
So this
around
is a
us.
nice alternative to plum trees and cherry
This
trees.
is a great alternative to those, and it just shocks me still that so many cities and municipal areas are still using non-native redbud trees, oftentimes eastern redbud trees, when they could be
Why?
when they could be planting our western redbuds that are native to California, that make a lot more sense, that have evolved with all the pollinators and things that we have around here, and yet there's that disconnect, I think, between people and their environment, and that's something we really try to work on here at Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden, is getting people connected and thinking about the world around them.
The other thing about a native landscape, which I found out in my yard, is when you don't have this straight slope of lawn going to the gutter to the street, where all the water and whatever you put on the lawn
Right,
runs out.
right.
I have all this texture and dimension in the dirt, and
right.
I have and so a lot more water will percolate into
It
the.
stays within your system.
Yeah.
You're not just sending water down the street, and something I see far too much of, especially here in Claremont. People not watering properly, and they're even watering their non-native plants too much. And I think I'd mentioned it before, but one of the biggest killers for some of our drought-adapted plants are people actually wanting to water them, and they water them too much. Many of them, like the buckeye, they go dormant in the summer, and that's their time to drop their leaves and actually just chill out and withstand the driest, hottest part of the summer, and then they come around back again in the fall. That's when you don't necessarily want to overwater your plants, because they're not used to being able to intake that water, and you can actually cause root rot in some of those.
All right.
So thinking about the bigger system, about how water travels through your landscape, through the plants, up through the ground and the soils, it's just all very, I don't know, I really just...
It's not.
It's
It's
a
not
bigger
just about
system.
usage. It's about the waste
Right,
too.
right.
Yeah.
The more you have between your water and the street, the better chances are any harmful things that might be in the water or that picks up off the ground get filtered out. Those are part of what we call ecosystem services that a lot of times we take for granted. They're things that plants do for us. In addition to being pretty, they're actually taking carbon dioxide out of the air, giving us wonderful oxygen, and those are just those things that we wouldn't be here without the plants.
One more thing that you told me before that I found very interesting was when you have a balanced habitat, you don't really need to use herbicides and pesticides. It's all natural.
That's right. A lot of
pesticides.
aspects of what we call integrated pest management, or IPM, you can get away with so many less chemicals and things that we really don't want to be putting into our yards. And if you get into composting and doing things like that, you're just able to add those natural things back to your yard. Think about natural pesticides. I mean, even like ladybugs. I think people sometimes forget that ladybugs are the things that take care of aphids, and they eat aphids on roses, but they also eat aphids that grow on milkweeds and other things like that. there are a lot of very natural, safe, and ecologically sound ways of taking care of pests. And as far as the composting, that's something that a lot of people are really getting a lot more into. I don't know, do you compost?
I
at
haven't
home?
started yet. I haven't started yet.
It's something that we just started here at the garden. We've actually put in some large composting bins, and we're going to have a couple that are sort of behind the scenes that we use, and then we're also going to have a few that are out in the garden that we can actually interpret and get people thinking about what they do with their own waste that comes from their yard.
Yeah, well, fortunately in Monrovia, we have a great city recycling system, so it
Okay,
doesn't go to
right,
waste.
right.
It doesn't go into the landfill. But I am going to be getting a greenhouse, and
That's
I'm going
great.
to want to grow a lot more of my own food, because they say when you grow your own food, it's like printing money.
That's right. It saves you a trip to the store, it saves the fossil fuels that you use to get to the store, all of those things. But not just in terms of composting or utilizing for mulches. If you're using the things that come from your own landscape, you know what's in the mulch.
Right.
Sometimes when you get mulch from somewhere else, you actually introduce exotics into your own landscape.
And how
that's
many
something-
times have you had to go to the store to buy dirt?
That's right.
No more.
When you don't have to do it, you can just make it right at home.
Yeah.
Takes time, takes a little effort, but all in all, it's a much more sound ecological system. There's thousands of bees.
And then it's a ceremony, and then open it up, and then I put it. Yeah, there is. Well, there might be. Oh, you know what?
Yeah, you can pick up. You want to get not you see that stalk up there? Well, it's back against
There's
that fence.
most of them are type of grasses, and I have some
That
flowers
goes-
left in there. So I got
The stalk that goes with it?
Hi, you guys. My name's Tom Skelton here at the Rancho Santa Ana Grow Native Nursery. I just want to encourage you guys to come check us out. You know, we're trying to support California native flora. We're open from the fall in November on in through the spring into May. And our hours are Wednesday through Sunday from 9 to 5 p.m. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks.
Well, that's our show today. I hope you enjoyed our native garden home. Now I hope you can get out in nature and let it inspire your garden. Contact us at nativegardenpatch@gmail.com.